The first thing you notice is the silence. Every sound, your own breathing, the crunch of grit beneath your boots, the creak of rusted metal in the wind cuts through the stillness like a scream in a cathedral. It's a silence that doesn't feel natural. It's the kind of quiet that only follows something terrible. The sun hangs low in a sickly orange sky, leaking through the ashen clouds like a dying bulb. The trees, what's left of them, are thin and skeletal, branches like twisted fingers grasping at nothing. Concrete buildings lean tiredly against each other, windows shattered, their insides gutted and hollow. I hadn't spoken out loud in 3 days. There was no one to talk to anymore. Not since the last radio broadcast fizzled out midway through a static-choked warning. You stop getting used to the loneliness after a while. At the beginning, you convince yourself it's just temporary. Now, I catch myself whispering to inanimate objects. My map, the can opener, a cracked photograph tucked inside my pack, just to hear a voice. I was heading north, toward the river. The old maps say there's a hydroelectric facility upriver, a potential gold mine of power, and maybe, just maybe, shelter. At least that's what the note said. I found it inside a sealed envelope pinned to a boarded-up gas station door. Safe, clean water, silent, follow the river. The handwriting was neat, deliberate. Someone still out there had enough hope left to leave directions. Or maybe it was bait. You don't think about trust much anymore. You think about food. You think about walls. And you think about how slow they move, but how fast they gather. I'd holed up for the night in a farmhouse just south of the river bend. Paint peeled from the siding in long strips, and the porch sagged like a broken spine. The inside was littered with signs of hurried exit, overturned chairs, a child's shoe in the hallway, food cans strewn across the kitchen tiles. I found the attic ladder hidden behind a panel in the closet. It wasn't much, but it was high up and had only one entrance. That meant something. I was almost asleep, drifting in and out to the faint sound of wind hissing through the cracks in the eaves when I heard it. The scrape, long and drawn out, like bone across wood. I froze, held my breath, waited. Another scrape. Closer this time. I eased toward the attic hatch, silent as I could. I didn't dare open it. The pale golden light of dawn filtered through the gaps in the slats. About an hour until full sunrise. I couldn't see anything directly, but I could feel it. That presence. Not the frantic, mindless shuffling I'd come to associate with the infected. This was slower, more deliberate. I waited 5 hours before I opened the hatch. There was nothing there. No marks, no footprints. Just the same hallway, the same child's shoe still sitting awkwardly by the door. But then I saw something that hadn't been there before. A single can of peaches had been placed on the kitchen table. The label was intact, no dust. It hadn't been there last night. I was sure of it. I left that house by noon. I didn't take the peaches. The road to the river was long and winding, hemmed in by crumbling fences and whispering trees. I kept off the pavement, walking the overgrown median where grass muffled my footsteps. That old silence followed me like a shadow, broken only by the occasional wind groaning through a toppled billboard or the distant screech of a door swinging on rusted hinges. I saw them sometimes, in the distance, standing still in overgrown fields or half submerged in roadside ditches, always facing in the direction of your movement. The heads tilt when you stop walking. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, They don't chase, not unless you're close, but they wait. God, they wait. I remember passing a school bus on its side, its yellow paint dulled to a sickly brown. Through its cracked windows, I saw their silhouettes, small ones. Children. They hadn't decayed like the adults, just stopped moving, as if the world had told them to wait, and they listened. It was evening when I reached the river. The current was sluggish, choked with debris, and the occasional ripple spreading from beneath the surface where unseen things drifted just beneath. Across the bank stood the power station. Its chain-link perimeter fence partially collapsed, the main building looming like a mausoleum. Its windows were dark, except for one, a faint light in the upper corner. Flickering like candlelight. Stupid, I know, but hope catches you off guard. Before I even realized what I was doing, I had crossed the twisted bridge, boards groaning underfoot, and crept through the fence gap with nothing but my hammer and a lantern. Inside, the air smelled of mildew and copper. The walls were lined with tangled wires and rusted pipes, and the floors bore the faint black streaks of fire. I moved slow, careful, footsteps echoed down long hallways, though I couldn't tell if they were mine or not. I reached the stairwell. The light was coming from the third floor. I ascended one step at a time. The closer I got, the more I could hear it. Soft, erratic breathing. Paused occasionally, as if the breather was listening just as hard as I was. I reached the landing. The door was slightly ajar. The candlelight flickered through the slit. I pushed it open. Empty room. A single candle on the desk, burned nearly to the base, and scrawled across the wall in what looked like soot. They follow heat. They know when you breathe. I turned slowly, heart hammering. That's when I noticed, on the far wall, opposite the candle, another message. This one smeared, half erased. They don't need to move to get inside. The hairs on my arm stood up. I backed out of the room, into the hallway. I was shaking now. Down the hall, another open door. Faint scratching sounds. I should have run. But something pulled me forward. Curiosity or madness. Maybe both. The room was a storage office. Filing cabinets overturned, papers scattered. And at the far end, crouched in the corner, someone. Or what had been someone. Their body was desiccated, sunken. But the eyes, they were wide open, fixated on the door, skin stretched tight over their skull. One hand was raised, fingers curled as if mid-scratch. Claw marks stained the wall behind them. There was no smell, no decay, just silence. I backed away slowly, refusing to turn my back until I hit the stair railing. Then I ran. I didn't stop until I was outside, crossing the bridge again, lungs burning, tears involuntarily streaming from my eyes. I didn't notice the figure standing in the river until I reached the far bank. Just their heads above the surface. Dozens of them, all facing me, not moving. Not yet. That night I camped in an overturned trailer a mile from the river. I didn't light a fire. I didn't eat. I just lay there, gripping my hammer, listening to the night. There were footsteps, soft, deliberate. They circled the trailer, never getting close, just letting me know they were there. I didn't sleep. I don't remember when I started hearing the whispering. It started faint, just outside the edge of hearing. Words that vanish when you strain to catch them. Then closer, more insistent. Sometimes it sounds like my name. Sometimes it sounds like my father's voice. I haven't seen another human in weeks, but I find notes, scratched into bark, written on the backs of old receipts taped to road signs, always the same handwriting, always just enough to keep me moving. Don't trust the still ones. They learn by watching. And the most recent scrawled on the inside of a rusted-out postal van. You're leading them. I don't know if I believe it, but last night I backtracked half a mile. At every place I'd stopped to rest, one of them was there. Standing, watching, waiting. Now I only move at night. I don't light fires. I don't leave marks. I don't breathe too loud. But I still feel them. They don't need to chase you. They learn where you're going. That's the thing no one tells you. In the end, it's not the hungry ones that get you. It's the patient ones. And they're very, very patient.